Hello, hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing a combo deck, and it's a true combo deck that once we start it, we win the game with it. I know the deck list looks a little bit wacky, but realistically, the curve is actually going to look a lot more like this, so it doesn't look quite as threatening. But basically, we are comboing with the Quintorius canned. I don't know exactly how to say that. But the main thing we're doing with this is we're using its Discover 4 ability to basically, it is kind of Cascade, but we have Discover up here. Exile cards from the top of your library to exile a non-land card with mana value 4 or less that you may cast it without paying its mana cost. The only spells in our deck that are 4 mana or less, because it does not identify the adventure sides of these cards, so they will not get cast. It'll skip them. Is the Spark Double, Clever Impersonator, and then the Mythos. Main thing that we want to hit first is the Spark Double, because when Spark Double copies a thing, you can see at the very bottom of the card that is no longer legendary. That is very important, because that means we get to stack multiple copies of this Planeswalker in play all at the same time, instead of having that legendary rule apply. You'll see it come up throughout the game, why it happens and what happens. But once we have Spark Double that has copied this Planeswalker, and say now we hit the Clever Impersonator, well, won't the legendary rule apply for that? No. And the reason why is we'll actually target the Spark Double copy. And if you target the Spark Double copy, it'll also copy the text that it's not legendary. And now we'll have 3 of these in play. And then you just do that over and over. Basically, once you hit the 4th one and cast a spell, it is enough for lethal. You just really want to hit that Spark Double first. If not, it doesn't really matter. You can just hit it next time or just get to the point that you get them anyway. And it's very cool. Is the deck competitive? Not really. But is it really fun to play? Yes. Do we have to play it in the Explorer format, which is kind of cringe? Absolutely. But let's get in there. Let's figure out the games. If you enjoy the content, please be sure to let me know. I hope you all do. And I'll see you around in those games. Opponent goes first. If they're not aggro, we have like actually a solid hand here, because we can get this cycled immediately and then play this maybe tapped. And then might have to use this as removal, but of course it's aggro. Why wouldn't it be? The one time we have like a decently good hand, we're just like, here's aggro. You probably won't make it to the turn to live. But if we do get there, like the combo is free, it'll be over. Ooh, binding. I think binding can save us a lot of life here. Do you think we want to cycle to play this a turn earlier and then maybe play line binding? Or have to binding this? Sure. Play line binding. Pop this out. We'll just slowly get to the combo, I guess. Yeah. I did play a ley line binding. Is that okay? They like stopped in their steps, like I wasn't allowed to do that. If I just play this tapped, cycle this, and then play this, we win, right? Yeah. Sure. They just have to not kill us at 14. Which is a little tough. I will say, because this is not legendary. But there's a lane on top. Just tap out. I have nothing. Okay, that's not tapping out. That's adding 5 mana, 4 mana. Sure. Magma Opus. I think their stop will be this. I don't know if they'll actually have an answer for this. Play this. It will gain life if we can get it to work. Do we get the combo? We get to do it. Will you let me do it? Don't remove it. Don't have a removal. You don't have it. Oh, and we hit Spark Double immediately. So the thing about the deck is you have to hit Spark Double to copy. Gain a little life. So the reason you have to have Spark Double is because Spark Double turns off the legendary rule. So because it's Spark Double. So now no matter what we find that copies a permanent, we want to copy this one because it'll actually copy Spark Double and what Spark Double is a copy of. So if we pick like Clever Impersonator, it'll actually, and copy this, the legendary rule will actually apply. But a little too late now, mate. We hit Spark Double again. We'll just copy the original. We could have done it in response to the first one, but they waited too long. So like this Clever Impersonator, if we had it come in and copy the original one, it would actually trigger the legendary rule. We'd have less copies, and the more copies we have, the more times the top ability will trigger. So we'll do this. We'll discover again. And Spark Double. And then this will trigger now 3 times. They'll get hit for 6. Then we'll just discover one more eensy-peensy little time. And then it'll cast one more copy, and then they'll get hit for 8. But I'll show you just, well, I guess it won't ever resolve. Because they'll die before this resolves, I guess. So I can't really show you. But against aggro, we got to do it, which I'm completely surprised by, honestly. Because normally we cannot. Aggro is like, here's lethal, good luck. And we're like, thanks for playing the game. I shocked too many lands into play. Opponent goes first. We can have Leyline Binding for 2 mana. We get a cycle and removal. We have the Impersonator. We just have to find the boy. So I think having the entire setup turn is fine. Thought sees me, I guess. I would be confused on when I'm playing too, but they get rid of Leyline Binding immediately. We do have the combo. The only problem is we're not going to be able to answer Grease Fang in time. And there's a Parhelion, so just like that, we already lost. Welcome to Wizards the Gathering. Because Grease Fang in best of 1 is fair and balanced magic. Here it comes. Land, Grease Fang, and we lose. Woo! That was a sick game. Like, opponent goes first. We do have the cycle here. Our opponent goes first. I don't like that our opponent goes first. I'm real upset about that. Put them all. I guess we just throw a Spark Double back. Oh yeah, this is a tough one. So we get this down. We'll play Lounge, and then we can. I mean, do we even binding? Do we just Virtue here? I think we just Virtue. Just gain some of this life back. If they pump mana in this to kind of buff it, we'll just Leyline Binding it later. It's a combo deck. I just don't understand it. We'll play this. We'll try to pass and see if they flash something in on instep, and if they do, we Leyline Binding this. Land, combat. Try to binding it. They could counter this, of course. But they had counter magic held up anyway. That's why we didn't see them flash anything. Sure. Okay. We'll shock this in. We'll pass. We want to try to remove it on their end step. Okay, I guess I try to remove it now. They have 1 mana, and we have the 3 to pay for the Geist Snare. Flip out the back. Will it slip out the back and this ability will phase out? I think so, right? Yeah, because it's not there anymore to get that buff. Bring up the Faceless Haven and attack me. Oh, I have no counter spell. I got nothing. Luck, soldier. Ah, he didn't resolve. Crazy. I mean, I guess Descendant Spirit is the thing, right? Discover 4. So we'll get to see here. The Clever Impersonator will copy the boy, and Legendary Rule will apply. So if we have Spark Double, we get to do this indefinitely. So now we have Spark Double, and they don't seem to have a response here. So we actually win? Question mark? And now, okay, we have another Spark Double, so it doesn't really matter. But now you see like how important Spark Double is in kind of this combo here. How did we squeeze this past mono blue? I'll never understand. We do play 4 copies of Spark Double for this reason, though. One of these at random. They thought it was cool, so sweet. I appreciate it. Do we have Leyline Binding on 2, and then we have a Creative Outburst to cycle, and then we have a Spark Double in hand, which isn't necessarily like wanted, but you never know. We didn't get Thought Seized right away. That's pretty cool. I enjoy not getting Thought Seized. The main thing here is that if it's Rakdos outside of like Bone Crusher Giant, we should be pretty solid. I'm actually gonna shock this in so we do have binding available, and then we can also cycle this if needed. Yeah, we're gonna cycle this because we want the treasure. They can take whatever they would like here. I know it's not Gyruda, but it is what it is. When you see Spark Double, you think Gyruda. Okay. Weird, but sure. Rookster. The big boy. Children. Sure. Alright. Listen, game. I do need something other than Lance. That'd be really sweet. And the battlefield is a copy of a creature planeswalker you control, except as this 1/1 counter on it. Rookster. I just need something that can trade off the shield raid if they want to attack. This actually saves us a lot more life than it does taking one more turn off to set up the planeswalker play. Ready to watch this lose a lot of life here, boys? I don't have a blue? Ah! I had a blue from the treasure. Draw your 3 cards. That's tough. I'm dead. I feel dead. Yeah. Look how cool my 1 Spark Double is. I have to be able to cycle here, I guess. It's pretty much cycle, hit it. I think we're only going to see a 5/5 attack, which is sick. Okay. On the barrel. We find it. Let me out. Please stop drawing triumphs. Come on, one time. I want to see if I get it. It's going to be the next card. Tragic. Go first here. I have Giganta that kind of screams sacrifice. Or everybody's favorite, Grease Fang. There's variations, I think, to play this. No, this Parhelion's too white. Which one of these is the Grease Fang one? It's the legendary version, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe none of them do. Favorite hoplite, cool. We're definitely popping that thing out of here. Get that goose loose caboose out of here. Don't worry, we're playing our bad adventure cards. We can do this together. Virtuoso? Nothing. Okay. Please tap. Then we'll Magma Opus. I'd Horde Arcanist. Maybe not the best thing I've ever seen. Gonjo here. I could copy this, which would be really funny. But most likely we will Leyline Binding it or just like tuck it. Especially if they target with like an Ancestral Anger. Or a white spell in general. Yeah, so here, because if they target it with protection from white, this will actually fizzle, I believe. I think so. I could be wrong. I know if you give a creature protection from white and they have white auras on it, they fall off, but I'm pretty sure if they God's Willing this fizzles and they won't get to draw anyway. But we're going to see anyway. Which makes sense. Yeah, so it fizzles. And now they don't have a card in their graveyard that they can target this with. Even if they wanted to. Using the noodle. If it was a red card, we probably wouldn't try to binding it. We'd probably try to Horn Lock Whale it. But tough. I think they're trying to figure out why that didn't work. Don't have a red source. So if we use this Horn Lock Whale, it actually just gets blown out. I guess I don't want to. Otawara can pop it uncounterably, but I can also play Otawara by Karuga and then just Horn Lock Whale it. I think I like that more. Because we're just going to need to draw some cards here, I think, at some point. Or I could have just played land and just flashed in the Horn Lock Whale. That also would have been sick. And I'd be like, here's my 6/6 you now have to deal with. Don't worry, we'll talk about it later. Did he kill us with this thing? He'll probably get close. Attack, Defiant Strike, draw a card. That makes sense to me. I think we can get them to budge on a God's Willing again. Put it on top or bottom. We're forcing them to use their God's Willings if they have them. That's 2 down. Sure. Blue. We lose our Horn Boy. Oh, monster trade on top. Sweet. All right. Why did I tap that like it was 1 mana? Oh man, I've been playing so much standard with like the 11 Triumphs where I was like, yeah, this is 1 mana, of course. Time for the Krugster. Krugster will draw 2 cards because of our Leyline Bindings. Flat tap because there's no point cycling this if this is also going to be there. It's also an instant speed spell, by the way. We had 2 red. It'd be sick. Fair. Fair. How many times have you played against Boris, though, that we've had their hand kind of stagger real awkward like this? 10th District Legionnaire. If it attacks, I'm blocking. I'll have Krugster fight it to the death. Look at this guy, dude. Look at him. Oh, yo, never mind. I just realized that he is just massacring whatever that thing is. This boy really just be fighting, scrapping for his life out here. What a hero. I didn't even realize that. Opponent. Fun games. We still didn't have a red besides the treasure. But now we're gonna do the combo. Spark double first would be best. We hit it. So Spark double pretty much guarantees we're gonna automatically do it, which, because in theory, if legendary rule applied every single time that we did this, we would barely like have enough to get them from 20 because we only play 8 total copies. It would be like 19. So we just spark double it up. We just keep comboing. But once we get 4 of these, the game's over. Clever impersonator. Now we copy this. Yeah, it's a good game. A little tough game for them, but realistically, we're not playing a deck that really cares. Most people have actually let this resolve, which is weird, because a lot of times when you play a combo... Webcam, relax. A lot of times when you play a combo, most people see it and they instantly scoop. So, honestly, thanks for my opponents being generous enough to allow me to represent the combo, which is really cool, which also, this could be the first time they're seeing it. So, they're like, oh, that's a new card. That's sweet. So... Okay, we're going to talk about the deck. My opinions on the Explorer format have not changed much. I'm not that big of a fan. Well, best of one. I do play best of one. It sucks how many times you play against like Greasefang or like that Boris aggro deck we played against. Obviously, that was an absurdly slow start by them. I feel like in most other games, we're probably losing that game. But you just get like Thoughtseize, Gristly Salvage, Greasefang, or like you play against Rakdos and it's like we got triple Thoughtseized and we're trying to play like a very precious combo deck. So it just makes it hard. And that might not be the format necessarily. That might just be me playing this whack deck. But if you want to see what the curve kind of truly looks like, I can actually move that around here. Leyline Binding should try to be 1 mana. Worst case scenario is 2 mana, so we'll put it in 2 mana spot. But realistically, this is actually what the curve looks like. Let's put that in a 1 mana spot. So don't get too surprised. Be like, what in the world? This bar graph up here is saying you have no 1 through 3 drops. That's insane. And it's kind of true. But the reason why is because on this card's ability to discover 4, you need to have nothing under that can't be played, which we do. So because Virtue, it doesn't see that sorcery side, so this gets around it. Same with the Hornlock Whale, it doesn't see that sorcery side, so it gets around it, and then Leyline Binding. This deck is kind of possible in Standard. It's not really possible in Standard just because of how like our cards are built. Now, don't get me wrong. Standard, legal, standard, legal, standard, legal. So you could technically try. The problem is we don't have Spark Double. We don't have the Impersonator. We don't have this card. We don't have ways to copy this to do, like, once we play this and activate its Discover 4 ability, if our opponent does nothing, they lose the game on the spot. We don't have that accessibility in Standard the way we would like we do in Explorer. So, of course, we find our way here. But realistically, I personally just don't find Explorer that fun. I think a lot of it also comes down to, like, not all the decks are here yet. We've been waiting on cons that's been announced forever now to get Phoenix out there, which is really good against some of these. Like, I think it's kind of good against like the Greasefang decks because they have so much spot removal that Greasefang can't just seize them and then just win out of the gate. They have to deal with multiple spells that can remove it or counter it or things like that. And Spirits is kind of underrepresented, I think, to some extent, which they also struggle with. But Spirits is also really good against us. They just hold counter magic, and it's very hard for us to get through. The best part is our Planeswalker does dodge Spell Queller barely, so that's kind of nice. But it can also just eat the Spark Double because it still casts the card. So there's a lot that can go wrong against Spirits. We would have lost to Goblins, but they messed up the timing which happens sometimes. Sucks, but that happens. It's really hard to deal with. And then once I got the second one and I activated the ability, they had to wait till I targeted again and then removed it and hope they had enough. But then we would have gained about 6 life in total, so they would have to get through a lot of life total plus our walkers. So the combo's cool. There's a Gyruda version as well that's interesting in terms of like playing these type of cards that are free and cheap. Like these guys right here are free for like Gyruda to play, and they're like nice 7/6. This discovers 5, so it'll hit a 4-drop, which is really, really nice for that deck. And then Horn Lock Whale is a great way to make your opponent pick stuff up like a Brazen Borrower, but you can actually play this, and it's not a bad hit off of Gyruda. So we might try that. If this video does well, I'll definitely barrel that. But these are also risky to kind of play because a lot of times you're going to have a losing record. This is a fun deck, not a competitive deck. So if you do enjoy it, I'm glad that you did. I hope you all did, though. But I'll see you around in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.